What is driving the internet crazy?
Rapper Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X.
Or, as your parents might know him, the Old Town Road fella.
Lil Nas X's new song, Montero, Call Me By Your Name, is trending. He's all over the YouTube trending page. He's #1 on the Spotify charts, and he's blowing up all over Twitter.
I just hit #1 on YouTube trending, 10 million views. I want to say thank you to everybody.
Now, in coordination with the song, he launched a shoe called the Satan shoe that is causing a lot of controversy.
Apparently, there's a drop of blood in the shoe.
That's pretty aggressive.
Already drawing social media controversy for satanic images.
This is desperate and really pathetic.
Bunch of Satanism, bunch of devilism, bunch of psychotic wickedness.
Now, all of that is underscored with a lawsuit he is currently facing with Nike.
Nike is suing over Lil Nas X's Satan shoes. The sportswear giant filed a trademark infringement lawsuit against Mischief. That's the streetwear company responsible.
We're talking about this because what seems like chaos, what seems like virality by mistake or mishap is actually not that at all. It is a carefully planned rollout from Lil Nas X that deserves to be talked about. It is a case study for creators in terms of how you can market and storytell online.
So on this episode, we're going to talk about the shoe that has drops of blood in it, the lawsuit with Nike, the controversy, and the strategy he used to launch himself into the headlines.
He played outrage culture like a fiddle.
Now, we're also going to talk about how we are applying that strategy to our own business as creators.
A lot to get into on this episode, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like the video. And Colin, roll the intro.
You love saying that.
I do. I absolutely love it.
So if you're unfamiliar with the story, let's get a little bit of context here. Lil Nas X released a song called Montero, Call Me By Your Name. And alongside of that, he released a statement on Instagram about the mission behind it, which was to encourage queer and LGBTQ people, really all people, to be themselves.
And to not be ashamed of the lives that they're living, and really to be proud of being who they are. And that's an amazing message. That's really important.
And the response to it has been just overwhelming. I mean, the LGBTQ plus community has really rallied around him on Twitter.
So the video for Montero, Call Me By Your Name, sparked a lot of outrage, specifically from the conservative Christian community. There's a lot of imagery in there that is actually not too different than some of the imagery we've seen from like a Cardi B. But in this instance, it is a male lead, Lil Nas X, engaging with another man depicted as Satan,
right?
In like sexual acts. And the conservative Christian community, which traditionally has had a lot of issues with music and art like this, came out with a lot of backlash, saying that he's setting a bad example for children.
You either are going to be a positive role model for kids, or you're going to be dancing with the devil, literally.
If you exist on the internet like us, you can't really go anywhere this week without hearing this story. And additionally, seeing the imagery, like it's very strategic imagery, like all the red, Lil Nas X with the red eyes. And then the other image that you're probably seeing is the shoe. You're seeing him holding a Nike shoe.
So in coordination with the music video and the song, he did a limited drop of shoes with a company called Mischief. Now, Mischief is a sort of a digital marketing agency that has worked with creators in the past. They released 666 editions of this shoe they call the Satan shoe for $1,018. All of them sell out within a minute.
We learned today that he actually held on to one pair of the shoes, which is number 666 out of 666. And if you tweet about the shoes, there's actually space on the website where you can click to enter. He put out a tweet today saying that you could win this pair of shoes. There's still one left.
And Mischief did something really clever by seeding the shoes to popular sneakerhead YouTubers.
That's really smart. Now, these shoes are basically just the Nike. I mean, they are the Nike Air Max, right?
Yeah,
like they are Nike
definitely.
shoes. A lot of people started lashing out at Nike, being like, how dare you, Nike, do this? How dare you work with Lil Nas X to release Satan shoes? Even for me, on first pass, I thought this was a collaboration with Nike on first glance. And I was like, holy, like that is wild that Nike is down to do that. But I didn't think it was that far-fetched.
This is not an official Nike release. This is not an official Nike release.
It's definitely not that far-fetched, and that's why people assumed that Nike is behind this. Nike ends up issuing a lawsuit against Mischief for trademark infringement, for damages to the brand, and is asking that all of the sales be taken back, that all of the shoes be collected.
That's not going to happen.
So between the backlash to the song or the music video and the backlash around the shoes, all of the headlines around Nike's lawsuit, there's a lot of attention right now on Lil Nas X and his new song, a ton.
Yeah, one of the things that's so interesting is watching him repost a lot of the attention. He's retweeted content on Twitter from gatherings in church talking about his shoe.
You think I'm gonna stand for that? You've lost your mind. You tell Lil Nas X I said so. Bunch of Satanism, bunch of wickedness.
Fox News.
What's most outrageous is the timing of this. It was intentionally dropped on the eve of Holy Week.
And he's done that with a sense of almost pride, saying, we made it. Like, we made it on all these different platforms.
And the angry contingent of opposers have strategically been made a part of the marketing plan. They are content for him to continue growing exposure for his music.
So this type of planned virality can only happen from people who are like born and bred on the internet. That's my opinion on it. We made a video about this 2 years ago called The Power of Lil Nas X and Logan Paul, where we talked about how Lil Nas X launched Old Town Road and how he did it through Reddit and through TikTok. And it's a very interesting piece. If you haven't watched that or you don't know the story of Old Town Road, like Lil Nas X has a history of doing this. And Logan Paul as well. In that video, we talk about how he went on Fox News and just bombed his interview on purpose so that it would go viral. There's these people on the internet who know how to operate it and know how to funnel attention and create a story out of the whole picture of the internet. And one of those people is the founder of Mischief. His name is Gabriel, and he is a young 29-year-old entrepreneur who comes from BuzzFeed. And he has a really interesting quote that we found. He says, "I think people have missed a big opportunity on the internet. While it is an insanely efficient distribution vessel for content, no one has really pushed the envelope of the internet as a storytelling medium, as an art form." That's a really interesting quote, because what he's suggesting is, yes, of course, we can put out this piece of content to all of you, and you can watch it. The internet is an incredibly efficient tool to do that. But what he's suggesting is that the holistic picture of the internet, the people who are opposing this campaign, the people who are making memes about this campaign and making fun of it, the people who are buying the shoe, the people who are reposting things, the people who are suing him, the people who are covering that lawsuit, that is the whole story. And the internet itself is the theater.
It's about understanding the internet as an organism and understanding which levers to pull that will put gasoline on the fire of the story that you're trying to tell, so that the internet in its entirety is the ship that you are using to distribute your content. It's not just YouTube. It's not just Twitter. It's everything in between that meshes it all together. The Reddit threads. It's understanding how Fox News will react. And then the fact that that Fox News clip is going to get uploaded to Twitter.
And if you think about the ultimate goal here, you'd have to assume the ultimate goal is probably twofold. One, make the song go number one. Check. Number two, raise awareness for his mission and the message he's trying to get across with this project and with this song. I would say in progress, but pretty close to check, right?
Like, it's planned virality. And it's not about just getting that attention. It's about how you harness it, which is this new interesting form of creator that we're seeing, like Lil Nas X, who can use the internet to get his final objective. In our piece earlier about Lil Nas X, about Old Town Road, he said, people thought this was a mistake. This is no mistake.
He also had this other quote that said, like, he was raised by the internet.
Yeah.
They were like his mom and dad. And I think that's an interesting quote about internet people, like people who are born and bred from the internet. They understand how all this works. I bet you in a meeting, they're also recognizing and planning out that a week after this rolls out, they know that there's going to be a lawsuit, right? They know. They're releasing a Nike shoe called the Satan shoe. They know there's going to be outrage. They know there's going to be a lawsuit. They also know that you and I are going to upload a video about it. Right? We're part of the internet storytelling. We're a part of this whole thing that just continues to deliver the messaging points, to deliver the objective of his campaign, and to raise awareness for his song. Like, we're a part of it.
And if you're Lil Nas X, the price of the lawsuit, or if you're Mischief, is worth it for the marketing.
And this brings up some comps in social hacking and just generally attention hacking that spans even before this version of the internet. American Apparel, which I'm sure everyone knows as this, clothing company that had this kind of like radical bad boy image, even though it was plain clothing.
Which actually was bad.
Yes.
It's not just a bad boy image.
No.
There were bad things happening.
It was bad. Yeah, it was bad. Now, one thing that they did to propel the brand was in 2009, when Woody Allen was in some controversy, they took a photo of Woody Allen from one of his films where he's dressed as a rabbi, and they just put it all over LA and New York on billboards. And they just wrote American Apparel. So it's a photo of Woody Allen, and then it just has the American Apparel logo. Nothing else. Now, Woody Allen did not give consent for this. Woody Allen was not compensated for this. Woody Allen was not a part of this. And immediately, of course, there's a lawsuit. Woody Allen is suing American Apparel. That makes headlines. Now, American Apparel ended up in a settlement with Woody Allen for $5 million. But that was way down the line after the billboards were up, after the news covered that Woody Allen was suing American Apparel. And what they understood was that their name was in the headlines and that they were propelled as this kind of like young, rebellious brand that didn't care about the establishment. To them, that was worth $5 million. When you think about like a commercial on TV, that's how much you're going to pay, right? You think about traditional advertising, that's how much you're going to pay. But American Apparel got way more press. They got way more of the brand kind of culture they wanted to build out of it. 11 years down the line, and Lil Nas X is doing something similar. And people on social are doing these things similarly, where they're saying, we're going to advertise totally differently, but we're going to make all of you, the people who love us, the people who hate us, and everyone in between, the people who have never heard of us, we're going to make all of you a part of our marketing campaign.
Now, we're not saying go look for a lawsuit by any means.
Yeah.
But there are ways to approach marketing. You can look at this as a case study for whatever you're doing. And that's what we are doing ourselves. It's not just about getting attention. It's then how you throw gasoline on the fire again. So an example for us, we know we have Mr. Beast coming on the show next week. That's going to bring a lot of attention. What do we do on top of that to make sure that it just keeps rolling, that it intensifies? And on the show, Mr. Beast announces that he will do something. I'll just say that.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff in that interview.
Because he understands that the thing that he says in the interview is going to throw gasoline on the fire.
Right.
It's going to intensify the attention. So that's part of it right there, right? We don't just have a Mr. Beast interview. There's going to be something on top of it.
You have to think about attention in 3 phases. Phase 1 is like this kind of prepping your audience for the attention. So right now we just did that. We just said Mr. Beast is on the show next week. So now you kind of know, oh, something cool is happening next week. Phase 2 is kind of when you activate it all and it's like, all right, it's live. Now that's happening. And phase 3 is actually the most important, which is the long tail. It's right after you just broke the doors down and had this influx of attention. You have to figure out how to funnel that attention, how to storytell your brand now that that attention is there. Think about it as like you just got a bunch of people to come to your party. So you actually have to plan what's happening in the party and keep them there. And you have to retain them. And so that's our goal, right? And when you look at Lil Nas X, what he did is right when he got all of this attention, right when this attention is happening, he's actually reinforcing the meaning of what he's doing. He's reinforcing who he is and reinforcing that his mission is to be unapologetically himself. Now that is materializing through multiple ways, right? 1, the statement he put out on Instagram, like reinforcing his mission statement. 2, by the way, speaking of being unapologetic, his apology video. One of the best uses of YouTube apology culture that I've ever seen in my life. If you don't know what I'm talking about, he opens up the apology video as if he's gonna say sorry for all of this. And it just cuts into this like degaff part of his music video that's just like, nope.
Okay, guys, I see everybody's been talking about this shoe, and I just want to come forward and say, let's try.
So he's taking that attention and he's driving people to his music as well. That's the main sort of bottom of the funnel. And that's where all this attention has gone. And that's why he is trending, why the song is #1 on the charts, why he's holding 6 spots right now on YouTube trending. And within that song is his message that he wants to get across. And that message is unapologetically his message, him being unapologetically himself. Now, when you do that as a creator, you inevitably cut some people out that will no longer be fans of yours. They are sort of non-believers in what you're doing. But by taking that stance and being unapologetically yourself, you're bringing the people that are a part of your fan base even closer to you. It's like a tribal mentality, right? Like that it's important to understand who you're not to understand who you are.
I actually think that's one of the most important takeaways for creators in this is not necessarily to be like actively exclusionary, but to a certain extent being like, who am I for and who am I not for? And whoever I'm for, let's build a deep connection there. And let's not try and attract the people who are just not ever going to be into this, into my message, into my content, like whatever. Like
that's just general brand building, right?
Yeah.
Like Morning Brew is not CNBC.
Right.
And they're very clear about that. And that's going to attract a different type of audience and a different type of advertiser. And all of that is just going to make your fans feel more a part of your community.
Now, to layer on top of that, to talk about fans, Lil Nas X's fan base is also, he's a tribe leader when it comes to meme culture and when it comes to using the internet as a storytelling mechanism.
He's fostered a culture of creation within his fans. Elon Musk has this great quote about everyone needing a good meme dealer. right? You need to have an influx of memes if you want to sort of win on the internet. Lil Nas X has turned his own community into meme creators who understand his brand. And now the good content funnels up to the top and he gets to use it on Twitter.
He gets to retweet it. Yeah.
Or TikTok.
And then that retweeting his own original creations of memes like reinforces what is the culture of this community. It's a community of creators. It's a community of people who use the internet to progress a message. So I totally agree that takeaway around really knowing who your community is and doubling down on them. Now, what I think is really cool about our community is that whether it's on Twitter, on email, on Instagram, or even here in the YouTube comments, people bring us stories. They talk about things that they want us to talk about, or they engage with us around like, well, you said this, but it's actually that. And that's one of the most fun parts of our community. So we do want to encourage you guys to give us other examples. Like I gave the American Apparel Woody Allen example. Like, are there other examples of people who have hacked attention in this way?
I mean, yes, theory with the Justin Bieber burrito when he was eating the burrito sideways, but it wasn't actually Justin Bieber and it made headlines.
Eric
with the fake Tesla this week.
By the way, you want to know something crazy?
Sure.
About the yes theory Justin Bieber thing. So, if you guys don't know it, we'll show some of the clips right now, but basically they were able to garner a ton of attention by having fake Justin Bieber eating a burrito sideways and outraging the internet. They also took another stab, which was having Justin Bieber help someone across the street, help a grandma across the street. Remember that? That was the first stab. It didn't work. Over the past 2 months, Thomas uploaded it to his personal YouTube channel, had no idea it has 11 million views.
What do you mean? Just the clip of Justin Bieber?
Helping a grandma across the street. It has resurfaced and someone has spread it around and they had no idea. Anyway, that's a fun fact. So that's an example of like, is there another story that we don't know? And then to close out, like you guys heard, we do have an interview with Mr. Beast next week. We got to figure out some ways to harness that attention and really start thinking strategically around how with increased attention, we are going to storytell about our brand, our mission.
And where we're going to send people, right? Lil Nas X is sending people to his music, to his message. We're going to be sending people to our new company, Publish.
You heard it here first. Actually,
we said it somewhere else.
We said it somewhere else first. But
this is the first time we're saying it on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we just wanted to hop in. That story was like too big not to cover and just so interesting. We had such great conversation around it. We'd love to hear from all of you guys. And if you made it to this point in the video, make sure you like this video. It really does help us. And make sure you're subscribed because we do have a big interview next week. And we'll see you then. Peace.